Hello everyone. Thank you for coming up today. My old subscribers, thank you. And to those that are viewing for the first time or that have not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. And to my new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please do not forget to hit on the like button. A woman in Delta State who lost her own husband has received a very serious attack from his grown up children who came from the first wife. And this particular woman lost her husband, and the children insisted that she must remarry again from their own family, that is from the father's relatives. That is what they want her to do, and it has to be done that way. But this woman refused, that she was not going to remarry any of their male relatives. And what these grown-up men, I'm going to be leaving the video behind so you can watch and see what grown-up men would go to the extent of doing. These guys had to go to this woman's shop. She had a very big shop. They went there and destroyed her things, destroyed the shop completely. And this happened in Kaigbodo in Delta State, Nigeria. You can see in that particular video how these men, matured men, taking their time destroying the whole of these items. And you can hear the voice of the woman in the background said, if they want to, they can go ahead and sell those things. So since they are destroying them, both the materials in the store and everything, they can go ahead and destroy and sell them and have the money to themselves. But isn't this very outrageous? And however, witnesses said that the children asked the widow to remarry from the family, but she refused. So they decided and they insisted that she must even leave the family with her own 7 children. A woman who already has 7 children, what are they insisting that she must remarry? Is this a tradition that happens in this part of the community? Must a woman remarry from her husband's relatives after the husband has passed away? I know, yes, in Africa, some parts of Africa, it is being said as a tradition that when the husband of a woman passed away, the woman will be handed over to his brother, either his elder brother. If the elder brother is no more alive, then she has to remarry his younger brother. It still happens till date in some parts of Africa. And then you can imagine how a woman will be subjected to being with a man she is not even ready to be with, or a man she doesn't even have any form of feelings for, all for the sake of tradition. And they still insist that this woman must have children with this particular brother of her own husband. Alright, look at now in this case, it's same case. Look at this matured men are insisting a woman with 7 children should now go back and remarry one of their father's relatives. And for her refusing to do that, they had to go and destroy this poor woman's shop where she is staying to fend for her children. 7 children is not 1, is not 2. And you know how difficult it is to take care of kids. And it will be more difficult now that the husband is no longer alive. You know, most times when both husband and wife are around and they are their own work or businesses they're doing, it makes life easier for them in taking care of the children and taking care of the family. But when the husband, who is usually the breadwinner of the family, is no longer alive, you find out that things are usually very difficult for this woman. And then they will try as much as they can to make ends meet. See how these matured men who are reasonable enough to understand that certain traditions should not be imposed on people anymore. And then they decided that as this woman has refused, they have to give her more pain. 7 children. They didn't even think of her kids. They didn't even consider the fact that this is where this woman is getting a source of livelihood to fend for her children. But these men, very mean, they had to go and destroy this particular business shop of this woman. And these children are the kids from the first wife, because this other woman is the second wife to the man. Isn't this very, very disheartening? Why would you insist that this woman should remarry? Must she remarry? And secondly, do you have to decide who she marries? If she decides she wants to get married, I think it should be up to the woman to make her own choice. Most times, some of these marriages where people are being imposed or forced to get into, it doesn't end well. Alright, you're expecting a woman with 7 children to even start remarrying in the first place. If she had just one kid, maybe you would say, okay, she would have more room, or she would have more time to make more babies and carry on her life with another man. Probably for this woman, she is done with marriage. Since her husband is gone, she already has 7 children. What else is she looking for? For her, she felt this is the time for her to concentrate and see how she can take care of her kids. And you know, this kind of family members, obviously they would never assist this woman to take care of those children. Even if she didn't have a shop to keep her up with her children, looking at these men, they don't look like people that would even be there for this woman and her kids. Alright, look at now, they have thrown her away from the home, that she has to leave the family house, and they now went to destroy the shop she was managing. This is a very big act of wickedness. I don't know if some of these traditions should still be imposed on people. I know it still exists, but it should no longer be something that you are compelled to doing, or otherwise you would face consequences. I think it was back in those days that some of these traditions are imposed on people, and when they fail to adhere to these traditions, they face very dire consequences. Some people are banned completely from that particular village or community. Some people are sent on exile. Those are harsh consequences that they give to people that fail to adhere to traditions. But now things have really changed. A lot of innovations, a lot of new ideas, new way of life has come up. So why should people still hold on to this idea of marrying a relative of your father once your father is no longer alive? I think there should be a limit to certain things when it has to do with this tradition. I think it should be brought up or presented to the woman. Are you willing to get married again? And would you be willing to get married to one of our father's relatives? I think that should have been the best approach. And then you let the woman decide if she wants it or not. You don't impose things like this on a matured woman with children. Probably she's even done with men. She just wants to face her children and see how she can help them grow or become better people in life. And then these matured men that you are seeing there now are the ones who are now forcing this woman that she must remarry. Friends, what do you all think with regards to something like this? Should this be a tradition that should be ongoing even at this jet age? Should it be a tradition that should be imposed? Fine, the tradition can still go on. It doesn't mean they should abolish their tradition completely. I think it should be a tradition that should just be left open to people. If you want it, fine. If you don't want it, fine. But the tradition still remains. And it should not be something that should be imposed. People are up to taking decisions for themselves. Tradition should no longer decide for people anymore. And especially people that are in the cities, people that are in developed states or developed communities. Probably this could only happen in the remote villages where you see people are confined to the village and then they don't have an option. Some of those people will just adhere to those traditions and go by it. But not when you are with people that are educated, people that are well exposed, and then you still force these traditions on them. People would not be accepting to go by tradition these days. A lot of people have even left their own community on their own, all because Their traditions are so difficult for them to adhere to, and so they feel the best thing for them is to even walk away quietly. These are things that you don't force on people. Things about marriage, you don't force it these days on people. Because once you do that, you're making a very big mistake. These are traditions that people should either say they want it or they don't want it. And if they don't want it, let them be. A woman of 7, what are you expecting from her again? Are you not supposed to be there? At least they should assist this woman. There's a matured men that you know that, okay, fine. They're either doing something or they have their own families. They should see to it that this woman and her children are not left stranded, or this woman and her children are not left at the mercy of nobody. And that is where some family members, some in-laws get a whole lot of things wrong. You find out that once some of them, their husbands pass away, that's when they receive very severe or terrible attacks from their in-laws. Some of them, if these men have property for their wives, or they've built houses, or they have investments around, you see in-laws or stepchildren will come and start fighting that woman to ensure that they rip her off of all this property that the husband has left in her custody. Are you people not supposed to see to it that this woman and her children are comfortable? Some go to the extent of throwing the woman away from the house the husband built for her and the children. Some go to the extent of even robbing them of their rights. Either the man has included them in the will, they will fight to the end to ensure that that woman and her children doesn't even have a share of any of the man's property. Isn't this very bad? Why will you fight a widow instead of helping her and helping her children the best you can? You now compound problems for her. All right, look at now. They have destroyed this woman's shop and they have thrown her away and said she has to leave the family. How do they expect her to take care of her 7 kids? How do they expect her to start life afresh again? You can imagine how terrible these men have gone, how the extent at which they have decided to inflict pain on this poor woman and her kids. I just hope and pray that community leaders should do something about things like this. That is, if the community leaders are not even part of this horrible acts that these men are displaying out there. Should this still be a case of questioning now at this time? Should this be something that they should be deliberating on when there are other laws and rules that are governing communities and states that are well developed, and then you still hold on to tradition that at some point you say these traditions, are they necessary? This one, if you look at it critically, it's not necessary at all. I think it's the woman's life. She should be left to decide what she wants to do with her life and her children's life. It should not be up to anybody to decide for her. She's not a baby. She's not just a young lady. She's a matured woman with children. I wonder why something like this should even be permitted. And you can see this man destroy the shop. No one is even stopping them. No one is even there to fight for this woman. And that is where it's usually bad. When these husbands to these women pass away, you find out that they don't have anyone to fight for them because their in-laws are not even there for them. Their in-laws are out to gain what they can gain from her. And then she's just left at the mercy of God without anyone even coming to her aid. Why should room be given for activities like this? Alright, these men doing this, I think it's even, if she goes to make a report to the police, I think she'll be justified. Because you don't impose things like this on people, and when they refuse, you now go destroying their property. That is invasion of privacy. Well, who knows how this whole thing will end up for this woman. It's just a pity that she and her children have now been thrown out and then destroying their own source of livelihood. I hope that someone will stand out there for this woman. Either make a report or do something about this so that this can even stop. These are things that happen in some places that people suffer till date, and they don't have anybody to stand out for them. I just pray that something should be done for this particular woman and her 7 children. Guys, what do you all think about this? I'm leaving the video behind so that you can actually watch and see how these matured men carried out this very horrible act, and they didn't even care. They didn't even look left, right. They were just so bent on ensuring they destroy everything in the woman's shop. And you can see that the destruction is so terrible that nothing is even left inside the shop anymore. Everything that this woman had in the shop has been destroyed. They went to the extent of even destroying windows and doors. That is how bad these men had gone with this act. And it's so bad, no one is even holding them. No one is even standing out to say anything. You can just hear only the woman's voice in the background with another woman, where the woman is trying to be stopped by other women from talking, but she kept on saying her own part. You can go ahead and sell them, not just break and destroy them, but go ahead and sell them. And the men didn't even care at all. Why will grown-up men, who is meant to go and concentrate on their own family, come and be fighting for things like this? If the woman remarries, how does that affect their own life? Guys, do you think that such things should still be on at this time? And do you think they are justified by telling the woman, a mother of 7, to go and remarry one of their father's relatives? It's like, if you don't marry, you leave the family. And that is exactly what they have done to this poor woman, who is a widow. Guys, please, if you have anything to say, you can put that down at the comment section. I hope that good leaders in this community in Kagbodo in Delta State should do something about an incident like this, because right now it's now the children and the woman that they should be concerned about, their well-being, their safety as well. Because for men to go to this extent, how are you sure the woman and her children are even safe? Who knows what are their next plans, since she refused to adhere to what they have forced her to go and do against her will. And now she has refused. They have gone to this extent, and nobody knows what their plan B would be. A report needs to be made on time before a different story is heard about this woman and her children. It's such a pity that she and her kids are being subjected to a very harsh condition. I hope and pray that justice is being served for this woman, because she don't deserve this. She didn't commit any crime. Your husband just passed away and you're being forced to remarry, and you don't want to remarry. And then what she has is being destroyed, because this is very, very unfair. Friends, please do not forget to hit on the like button. Also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. Thank you. God bless you all.
Idiot. Now come and go sell us for this crap. Now scrap business in the two. Back up. Go sell this crap. People now scrap business in the two. Go sell. Now be scrap business in the two. Oh boy, money there now. Back up. Go sell. Go sell. Back up. Go sell. In our God, why do you do a blessing what they beg her? Idiots! And I'll find out press me shall not is lock of physical. Now because in the fight when you want to do all
your blood now is different.
Your
blood different.
Now because the fight is 12 years with this, you lock out to one. Idiot. Now come and go sell us for this crap. Now scrap business in the two. Back up. Go sell this crap. People now scrap business in the two.
Go sell. Now be scrap
business in the two. Oh boy, money there now. Back up. Go sell. Go sell. Back up. Go sell. In our God, why do you do a blessing what they beg her? Idiots! And I'll find out press me shall not is lock of physical. Now because in the fight when you want to do all
your blood now is different.
Now you lock out to one.
Your blood different.
Now Wetin dey find me 12 years with this? You don't come do one. I don't get your time, oh. I don't get your time.